7 years. This is a Call 7 Investigators special presentation.
Mr. Acey, do you think you ought to go to jail for this? For cheating taxpayers in Adams County?
Lee Acey is the former head of Adams County Public Works and was considered by many to be the most powerful department head in the county.
Just a simple question, Mr. Acey. Are you going to pay the money back?
This day in April was the culmination of our methodical investigation into corruption in Adams County, and it was Lee Acey's day of judgment.
You going to pay it back?
Could one of you guys help me here?
Acey was used to having people help him with almost anything he needed.
Do you think you owe an explanation to anybody in Adams County for what you did?
Acey, who has been ducking our cameras for years, is being sentenced to prison for theft, allowing county trucks and employees, which he controlled, to be used by a longtime county contractor, Quality Paving, a company owned by Acey's personal friend.
He kind of was involving in a culture of corruption within Adams County.
Adams County DA Dave Young scoffed at Acey's written statement to the judge asking for leniency.
It's the people's position that he was that culture and created that culture in Adams County through his work as the Director of Public Works.
That culture of corruption was uncovered by a Call 7 investigation that has spanned nearly 5 years. It is a scandal that has cost taxpayers millions, resulting in 6 convictions or pleas, and forced reforms that have changed the way the county does business. Good evening, I'm John Ferrugia. It first began when we started digging through thousands of pages of county documents and discovering millions of dollars in no-bid construction contracts. Contracts with hundreds of change orders. And all the money was going to one favored company. It was in 2008 that our first story began exposing this culture of corruption. In Adams County, if there's work to be done on a road, a bridge, or a sidewalk, Quality Paving is on the job, and often without concern for competition.
Until we asked questions, you weren't aware that you'd given $12 million in sole source contracts to Quality Paving, were you?
That's correct.
Jim Robinson is Adams County Administrator.
So why did it take me and my team to come and tell you you got $12 million in sole source contracts here that you weren't aware of?
Well, because I believe our Public Works Department that was the best way to get the value for the county.
But it isn't just contracts given to Quality Paving without a competitive bid. We found more than $4 million in contracts where Quality wasn't even the low bidder, and a letter from one low bidder complaining. And millions of dollars in work where Quality Paving's contracts were simply extended year after year with no competition. All this was directed by the head of Public Works, Lee Acey, and approved by the county administrator and the Adams County Commissioners.
I think there's significant concern.
And no wonder. This 2005 email makes clear what was going on. An official in the Adams County Purchasing Department notes that it was indicated to me, too, that Lee was going to send us sole source justifications for both projects, recommending Quality Paving.
He was driving these toward Quality Paving.
That's pretty obvious from the emails and the contracts. Future, we're going to revise our regulations so that we're not doing that.
Incredibly, Adams County officials weren't following a state law requiring that any road or bridge contract exceeding $5,000 is bid.
So you didn't really know about this law?
That's correct.
What may be more significant is that Jim Robinson and other Adams County officials had no idea that while Acey was directing work toward Quality Paving was completing work here at Acey's private residence. Our investigation uncovered building permits showing work totaling $35,000 on Acey's home.
Were you aware of that before we brought it to your attention?
I wasn't, no.
And what did that cause you to do?
Find out if there were any inappropriate conduct going on at Lee's own personal residence.
Sources who worked on the project say it was completed in part by Quality Paving, as well as a company owned by a business partner of Jerry Ray, the owner of Quality Paving. We went to Lee Acey's home to ask for his side of the story, and even though we saw him inside, he wouldn't come to the door.
Could you speak to me, even through the window?
We also wanted to ask about the elaborate landscaping completed at Acey's home that required no permit.
We're aware of it, yes, John.
Of the landscaping?
That there was work done by Quality on landscaping, yes.
Our investigation has also uncovered, and Acey has now admitted to county officials, that he attended the wedding of the son of Quality Paving's president in Las Vegas in September 2007.
John, I can tell you that's part of an ongoing investigation, and I'm not going to talk about that.
Officials confirm Acey didn't pay for his hotel room, but it's unclear who did.
Can a person have this cozy relationship with a vendor?
It certainly raises some serious concerns, and that's what we're looking at, John.
In total, we found Quality Paving had been awarded $50 million in county contracts. Following this story, Lee Acey was immediately put on administrative leave by the county, and Jim Robinson began asking questions.
Lee wasn't able to produce receipts that substantiated that it had been an arm's length transaction. It would be hard to imagine that that there were going to be receipts once we realized who had done the work on his home.
Because Quality Paving had done it.
Yeah.
And he admitted that.
He did.
But even more important than his internal inquiry, Jim Robinson took the documents we uncovered to the Adams County District Attorney.
The county then at the end of March, I think it was the first week in April, provided those documents to us and said to the sheriff in my office saying, would you take a look at this? Channel 7 has asked for them about impropriety in the contracts, and we want you to take a look at them as well. Don
Quick is the former district attorney of Adams County. As he began investigating, a key point of our story gave him pause.
When your story about the requirement of the $5,000 plus being the bidding contract, then we said, okay, at least we have substance of that right now.
County sheriff records show that Lee Acey claimed to investigators that he had paid cash for much of the work done on his home by Quality Paving, owned by Jerry Ray, and a second company owned by yet another friend. Even though he could not provide detailed receipts, and that some receipts were written to Lee Acey on blank paper, in the end, prosecutors could not prove that he was on the take.
We weren't able to develop enough evidence to file a case against Mr. Acey at that time.
Dave Young is now Adams County District Attorney.
Although it smelled really bad and we knew something was going on there, we could never reach that level of filing a case for the construction that was taking place at his house.
And investigators were stalled in their investigation into county contracts because they could get no one in the Public Works Department to talk.
I knew that you had people that were providing you information that we hadn't heard yet.
While the criminal investigation slowed, we continued digging, uncovering more documents that showed that Lee Acey wasn't the only county official benefiting from his relationship with Quality Paving. This information would become a linchpin in the prosecutor's case. That story next. You did some renovation up at your house and some landscaping, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And who did that? Who did that landscaping and work for you?
Well, we did a lot of through myself with my own friends and.
Well, that would be Quality Paving, wouldn't it?
No, it would like I had some of my own people do it.
His name is Sam Gomez, and he's the former construction manager for Adams County Public Works, who signed off on tens of millions of dollars in county contracts awarded to Quality Paving Company. But no one knew until we began pulling construction permits that Quality Paving and its owner's business partner were also providing thousands of dollars in landscaping and other services at Gomez's home. From the air, you can see the landscape work around Sam Gomez's house is extensive. It was part of a major remodeling project that included modifications to the walkout basement of the house. And who did the work? Well, records show it was Thorngren Construction Company, whose owner is a business partner of Jerry Ray, the owner of Quality Paving Company.
I seen some trucks out in front of his house and some of Quality Paving workers doing landscape work at his house.
Al worked for Quality Paving for years, and because he's still in the industry, he didn't want his face shown.
And where was landscape work being done?
In his backyard.
Quality Paving people?
That's correct. It was common that we'd done favors for Adams County. It was just the way things work between Adams County and Quality Paving.
Mr. Gomez? John Ferrugia, Rover Channel 7. We caught up with Sam Gomez as he showed up for work. You did some renovation up at your house and some landscaping, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And who did that? Who did that landscaping and work for you?
Well, we did a lot of through myself with my own friends and.
Well, that would be Quality Paving, wouldn't it?
No, it would like I had some of my own people do it.
It took us probably about 2 or 3 weeks, somewhere around there, to do it.
How do you know about that?
Well, I know people who took stuff over there, and plus I took Petromat over there to them.
Heath worked for Quality Paving for several years. His family is now in a business dispute with the company.
Did you know people from Quality Paving who were working up there?
Yes. They worked for my crew.
Well, it was just friends that I had.
What do you mean friends? We're talking. You know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know that Quality Paving did the work up there, did they not?
No.
Nobody who worked for Quality Paving did the work up there.
No, I couldn't say that.
So does Sam Gomez have the receipts to show who completed the work around his home?
Yeah, I don't have too many receipts. Again, I did it with a lot of help from friends.
Can you prove who did the work?
I can't prove who did the work. Like I said, I had friends of mine come over and do the work.
But it's not only work at Sam Gomez's home that is in question.
They go to Bronco games together, and they do golfing tournaments together and so forth.
He'd come back like Monday and say they had a great time at the football game. Him and Sam and his 2 children, if they went.
Ever go to football games with Jerry Ray, Bronco games?
Yeah, I've attended football games with him, yes.
With him, yeah. And who paid for the tickets?
I don't know. That was all part of like with Lee Acey and that.
That's right. It was all part of the relationship between former Public Works Director Lee Acey and Quality Paving President Jerry Ray, a relationship at the heart of a criminal investigation.
All of those things are of a concern to me and to Adams County.
After this story, Adams County Administrator Jim Robinson immediately put Sam Gomez on leave and began an internal investigation. Sheriff's documents show, like Acey, Gomez stated he had no receipts for payment, as he paid in cash with no receipts generated. Gomez admitted that he got some Bronco memorabilia from Quality Paving and that he attended Bronco games with Jerry Ray because he claimed his boss, Lee Acey, told him there's nothing wrong with it. That's fine.
John, as you know, we have a policy that doesn't allow employees to take gifts from vendors, and certainly if there's gifts involved, that's a serious concern. How deep does the issue go?
That is exactly the question criminal investigators had been asking but couldn't answer because they couldn't get anyone inside Adams County Public Works to talk. But then we found this man, Heath Russo. He told us how Quality Paving was using favors, change orders, and phony invoices to bilk taxpayers. After our story, the Adams County DA had what he needed to move forward.
They underbid everybody else at the time of the contract, and then they did a change order, which was basically for the same amount of work that was supposed to be in the contract, and that's where they made their profit. And so once we had Heath Russo, who was the person that you found that spoke to you, be willing to explain the inside operation, then all of a sudden that was a linchpin that dominoes went in the right direction, and that opened us able to say, not only is this suspicious, but it was done intentional and it was fraud on the taxpayer.
And the scope of that fraud was extensive.
And we discovered that in some highways that were supposed to have been resurfaced, they hadn't been resurfaced at all. We had, I believe it was one 5-mile stretch of road where it was down, they said they sealed the cracks in the asphalt, but then it was discovered that stretch of road was a dirt road. We had another road that was repaved, and that road didn't even exist.
And if you hadn't been looking at those documents, you'd never known this.
We would have never known.
As the Quality Paving criminal investigation continued in earnest, the county administrator was reacting to yet another Call 7 investigation involving another department director. It was an investigation that highlighted just how dysfunctional the county system had become and how corrupt officials were taking advantage. That story next. Prior to the last election in Adams County, it was no secret that the 3 elected county commissioners wielded the most power. It was also no secret that if you were a county department head, you took orders first from a commissioner and bypassed the county administrator.
Well, whenever a director needed something, they would go around the administrator directly to the commissioners. And part of what we did in our reorganization was that all the directors now answer to the county administrator.
And that was directly as a result of that investigation?
That's correct, John.
That 3-month investigation involved monitoring the Adams County Parks Director, Crystal Gray, who we found during working hours spent more time off the job running errands than at work.
I don't think they've marked exactly where the building's going to go. But
Crystal Gray describes herself as a hands-on director, always out of the office, in the field, checking on projects like this one at the Adams County Fairgrounds.
I am a parks director that kind of subscribes to the walking around management style.
But in the weeks we monitored Gray's working hours, most of the walking around we noted was on the Pearl Street Mall in Boulder, side trips to department stores, and other assorted personal errands. And there were a few work-related meetings in Adams County. Do you think you spend 8 hours a day working?
Yes.
Do you ever leave your house 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning?
I mean, I have before.
Do you often do that?
No, I don't often do that. But, you know, if I'm reading a report or working on something at home.
But in the weeks we monitored her routine, we found she never left her house for work before 10:30 or 11 in the morning, often not getting to work before noon. During the time, 8 hours that you generally working, do you go shopping?
Not normally.
Do you sometimes?
Well, you know, I really can't think of a time.
On December 4th, Gray left her Boulder home at 10:35, headed for work. Along the way, she had some shopping to do, arriving at Marshall's at 10:43. She emerged from the store an hour and 15 minutes later with her purchase. She arrived at work at the Adams County Fairgrounds at almost 1 o'clock. She went home later in the afternoon. On her official Adams County time card, which Gray signed, it shows she worked 8 hours.
I can assure you, John, that I've either worked at home in the morning or I've worked later on, but I always put in over a 40-hour week.
Over the next 2 weeks, we saw her leaving her home between 10:30 and 11 in the morning, visiting neighbors and running errands, arriving at work at noon or after. And one day,
You were there about 10 minutes and you went to get your hair done. And then after that, you got back to work about 3 o'clock.
I think I actually did that on that day.
Yet on each of these days, her timesheet says she worked 8 hours. Finally, there is December 19th, when Gray left her house at 11:14 and strolled the Pearl Street Mall in Boulder, talking with friends and then taking her time to shop at Chico's. She finally arrived at the office at 1:44 p.m. She left soon after for the only official function of the day, a 2:30 meeting at the administration building in Brighton, after which she went home.
The part that you don't see is the work that I'm doing either at home or on the weekend or in the evening.
If that is true, then why, after we requested her time cards, did she immediately begin coming to work at around 9 a.m.?
I wanted to make sure that that the appearance, that if I was sitting in my seat doing my work, that was, you know, something I should pay attention to.
I'm very disappointed, and I would expect more from her and from all my other directors.
But Crystal Gray argues that her obligation to taxpayers is to make sure that her department operates as it should.
When we get the big grants, when we get the projects in on time, when I'm responsive to the staff, that's how they know that the work is getting done.
But given the public perception our investigation created, neither Robinson nor the Adams County Commissioners were buying Gray's explanation. She resigned before the commission could meet to decide her future.
That was a real eye-opener, and once again, I think that went to the structure of county government. And I knew that from that day forward that we were going to have to change things in Adams County.
So at that point, you then began to exercise authority over directors.
That's correct, John.
Previously, you hadn't.
Not very much authority over the directors, that's right.
And that was just the beginning of new practices, policies, and a new culture that now has permeated Adams County government. Next, the major changes that emanated from our investigations and the consequence for those who were stealing millions.
Mr. Acey, as a public servant, violated the public trust of the citizens of Adams County.
Prosecutors believe that Lee Acey, the former head of Public Works, was responsible for the scheme that cost taxpayers millions. But the statute of limitations had run out on many of the violations that prosecutors thought they could prove. Acey pled guilty to 1 count of felony theft, claiming he was a victim of a corrupt system.
He refuses to take responsibility that this was in fact a crime that he committed, that he allowed Quality Paving to steal from the taxpayers of Adams County.
The judge in the case sentenced Acey to 2.5 years in prison. He began serving that sentence in April. But despite being the boss, his punishment was less severe than for others involved in the fraud. Sam Gomez, the contracts manager for Adams County, who our investigation uncovered had received gifts and services from Quality Paving, was sentenced to 4 years. Quality Paving president and owner Jerry Ray, sentenced to 9 years. He's free pending an appeal. Dennis Cohen, who managed contracts for Quality Paving, is serving a 13-year sentence. Heath Russo, who the Call 7 investigators convinced to speak to us about the corruption, pleaded guilty to theft and received a deferred sentence because he later helped investigators unravel the criminal scheme. And Adams County Road Inspector Stacy Parkin, who also testified for the prosecution, received a deferred sentence for pleading guilty to theft.
I think what surprised us was the scale of this.
Former Adams County DA Don Quick.
How big the fraud was and how many people were involved in the years that it took place. So we thought that we originally were going to look at some county contracts and see if there were some improprieties. And it turned out that when you pulled the string on this hem, the whole thing fell.
In addition to the criminal charges, the county has sued those involved in federal court, asking for more than $8 million in restitution. But the county administrator says that is not the most important result of our investigation. It is the sea change in how Adams County now operates.
If there was one event that led to reform and changes in Adams County, it was the whole quality paving scandal. Certainly after Channel 7's investigation into quality paving and the Public Works Director, I had full support to try and put processes in place that would make Adams County a better government. Full support.
Because of public pressure.
Because of public pressure.
And those reforms have been dramatic.
We brought in an internal auditor. We changed our purchasing policies so that now everybody had to align their purchases through our purchasing department.
You could track them.
Yeah, we could track them. We also brought in an independent ethics officer, which probably is the standard of good government. To have somebody that's independent, that I have to answer to, everybody has to answer to.
And there is one other significant structural change with far-reaching implications.
The County Commissioners Board was changed from 3 to 5 commissioners.
Those 5 commissioners will be elected for the first time next year.
Do you think that's a direct result of this investigation?
The 5 commissioners, yeah, I do. We've gone from having a couple people making decisions, at a kitchen table, to now having it be much more transparent that 5 people are going to make the decisions and they're going to do it publicly. I think that's probably the most sweeping change in Adams County is that business is different, that people know if I see the wrong thing, I can report it, and if I do the wrong thing, I'll be held accountable for it.
The federal suit has yet to go to trial, but the message from the 5-year Adams County investigation is clear and has sent a warning not only to this one county, but to all county governments across the state. Someone is watching. I'm John Ferrugia. Thanks for joining us.
Now there's some breaking news. Theft, embezzlement, forgery. Those are the charges leveled just moments ago against 2 people working for the Adams County Public Works Department and 3 others who worked for a county contractor. Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia is here. And John, your investigation into county contracts with Quality Paving Company tipped off the DA.
That's right, Ann. Our 2008 investigation uncovered work done by Quality Paving at the homes of the director and contract manager of the Adams County Public Works Department. Now, that's work they couldn't prove they paid for. This was during a time when the 2 were giving Quality Paving millions in no-bid county contracts. At the home of Sam Gomez, we found Quality Paving apparently completed tens of thousands of dollars of work of landscaping and construction. When we confronted Gomez, he couldn't answer our questions. You did some renovation up at your house and some landscaping, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and who did that? Who did that landscaping and work for you?
Well, we did a lot of through myself with my own friends and.
Well, that would be Quality Paving, wouldn't it?
No, it would I had some of my own people do it.
Now, Sam Gomez and an Adams County Public Works Inspector, Stacy Parkin, were arrested on charges of theft, conspiracy, forgery, attempt to influence a public official, and embezzlement. And over at Quality Paving Company, Vice President Dennis Cohn, Louis Shrimp, and Heath Russo were arrested on charges of theft, conspiracy, forgery, attempt to influence a public official. Now, our investigation found also that there were tens of thousands of dollars of work done by Quality Paving at the home of the Public Works Director, Lee Acey. And that is what began the DA's investigation. Acey and his deputy, Sam Gomez, who you just saw, were forced to retire. Acey has not been arrested. While Adams County DA Don Quick declined to comment on Acey, he made it clear the investigation is not over. And it seems that the DA wants to pressure those arrested now for more information, and that could eventually lead to even more arrests in the Adams County Public Works Department.
Wow. We know you'll stay on top of it and
will.
update us. All right, John, thank you. And now new information in a Call 7 investigation. Another person is arrested in connection to a gifts for contract scandal in the Adams County Public Works Department. Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia prompted the ongoing investigation into these questionable dealings.
We first questioned more than $14 million in no-bid contracts to Quality Paving Company and asked whether county officials were getting gifts in exchange for the contracts. 2 years later, authorities charged 3 former Quality Paving employees and 2 county officials. Can you prove who did the work?
I can't prove who did the work.
Including contract manager Sam Gomez. On Friday, prosecutors announced theft and attempt to influence a public official charges against the former Quality Paving owner, Jerry Ray. According to Ray's arrest warrant, he told an underling to bill for work that hadn't been done. Referring to Gomez, he noted, "Me and Sam will take care of it." Now, Ray has been charged with 23 felonies. Meanwhile, the Adams County DA says the investigation continues into other public officials, including the former head of Public Works, Lee Acey, who was forced to retire after our investigation. And we've also obtained this letter from the newest Adams County Commissioner. And Eric Hansen is urging his fellow commissioners to evaluate the county's ethics and procurement policies.
All right, John, we'll look forward to hearing more about this. Thank you.
A Call 7 investigation leads Adams County to file a lawsuit against former employees and contractors for almost $2 million. In 2008, Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia first uncovered county officials providing no-bid contracts to a company called Quality Paving. Well, now county officials believe Quality Paving billed the county for $1.8 million of work it never completed. So yesterday, county commissioners voted to sue the people involved.
There's no doubt about that. That original story is what got us looking at the whole situation, certainly got law enforcement looking at the whole situation, and as a result of that story back in 2008, Adams County is changing the way that it does business.
So yesterday, the county established an independent auditor, revamped the employee code of ethics, and centralized their purchasing policy. 4 former employees at Quality Paving and 2 county employees were charged. Former Public Works Director Lee Acey has not been charged, but lost his job shortly after our Call 7 investigation.
A former Adams County Public Works Director at the center of a Call 7 investigation, now charged with theft, embezzlement, and other felonies. Lee Acey headed Adams County Public Works and approved $14 million in no-bid contracts for Quality Paving Company. At the same time, Call 7 investigator Ferrugia uncovered work done on the homes of Public Works officials by that company and its associates. Acey was close friends with the paving company's owner. A guilty verdict today in a trial prompted by the Call 7 investigators. A jury convicting the former vice president of Quality Paving of 62 counts, including theft and forgery and conspiracy. Prosecutors accused Dennis Cohen of using his connections with the Adams County resources there to pass on phony bills to taxpayers, defrauding them of more than $1 million. He will be sentenced on April the 12th. A guilty verdict following a Call 7 investigation into government corruption. A former paving executive found guilty of influencing a public official in Adams County. Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia first uncovered the scheme, which involved gifts and millions of dollars in county contracts.
A jury found the former president of Quality Paving, Jerry Ray, guilty on 23 criminal counts. The jury believed he was part of a plot to bilk taxpayers out of $1.8 million in county contracts. Now, Ray was charged after a Call 7 investigation found his company gave gifts to employees of Adams County Public Works, including tickets to Bronco games and memorabilia. And he got $14 million in no-bid contracts from the county. Prosecutors also say he inflated prices on county road jobs and even charged the county for a 15-mile road that doesn't exist. A jury found Ray guilty of theft, conspiracy to commit theft, and attempting to influence a public figure. He's scheduled to be sentenced on April 26. Ray is the second to be convicted in the corruption case. The former head of Adams County Public Works, Lee Acey, and his former contract manager, Sam Gomez, are next to be tried. In the newsroom, I'm John Ferrugia, 7 News.
Now, the vice president of Quality Paving, Jerry Cohen, was found guilty on charges related to the case last month. Only on 7 News, the Call 7 investigators uncovering another deal with a developer who owes Adams County tens of thousands of dollars. Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia started asking tough questions, and now the county is launching an audit. John?
That's right, Mike. And top county officials had no idea about this outstanding debt until we told them. Now they're trying to figure out if there are more unpaid contracts.
There's a lot of reasons to be concerned.
Adams County Administrator Jim Robinson is talking about this development at 78th and Washington.
We have an outside independent internal auditor that's going to take a look at the development agreements.
County taxpayers paid for streets, sidewalks, and gutter improvements to access the subdivision.
We got a call from Channel 7, and we found an unsigned agreement that basically said that there was a developer that had originally owed the county $193,000.
The contracts obtained by Call 7 investigators show the money was supposed to be repaid by the developer by the end of 2005. But developer Joseph Tallarico, who signed the document, only reimbursed $70,000. When the payments weren't made, the county had no way of knowing that it was owed money.
That's my understanding.
Adams County was the focus of a 2008 Call 7 investigation that led to felony charges of County Public Works Director Lee Acey, other county officials, and contractors. Robinson said Acey had a copy of this contract, but it was never officially approved.
This didn't go through the normal channels and get to the Board of County Commissioners and to the county attorney's office.
Robinson says the county will now review all its records to see how many of these deals were made and how much is owed to county taxpayers. Now, Robinson tells me he doesn't know how long this audit's going to take. In a phone conversation with us, Tallarico, the developer, he claims he simply forgot to pay the money, but he says he's going to make good on that deal. And Mike Lee Acey, who's facing the upcoming trial, well, he didn't return our phone calls.
A man at the center of a Call 7 investigation sentenced to 4 years in prison. Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia uncovered information that led to charges against Adams County employee Sam Gomez, that he approved invoices from Quality Paving and Quality Resurfacing for work that was never done. He pleaded guilty to theft of county funds. 2 others from Quality Paving have also been sentenced to prison time.
A guilty plea tonight in connection with a 2-year Call 7 investigation. We found Quality Paving Company was given preferential treatment by Adams County Public Works, given no-bid contracts, and it failed to complete millions of dollars in county road work. Well, now the former head of Adams County Public Works, Lee Acey, has pleaded guilty to unlawful use of county trucks and employee services. He faces 2 to 6 years in prison. In all, 6 county and Quality Paving employees have been convicted or have pleaded guilty in the corruption case.
Justice for taxpayers in Adams County after a Call 7 investigation into corruption within the Public Works Department. The former head of Public Works, Lee Acey, sentenced today for his role in theft of public funds. And Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia first uncovered corruption back in 2008. And John, Acey took a plea deal that significantly reduced the amount of time that he'd spent in prison.
It did, and Acey was originally charged with 20 felony counts, but he reached a plea deal with prosecutors for only 1 count, a 4th-degree felony. Under that deal, Acey now faces 2.5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. I want to ask you if you're going to pay back money, taxpayer money that you gave away in these sweetheart deals. You're going to pay it back to taxpayers? As he walked into the courthouse, former Adams County Public Works Director Lee Acey didn't want to talk about pleading guilty to more than $100,000 in theft. How much money did they spend on your house? How much money did you spend on your house?
No comment, John.
Call 7 investigators uncovered Acey's cozy relationship with Quality Paving Chief Jerry Ray. We found the Public Works Department had approved millions of dollars in no-bid county contracts for Quality Paving, and it seemed that Acey got some personal benefits.
In April of 2008, Channel 7 happened to run a news story on how Mr. Acey had some work done at his house and that Quality Paving did some of that work with the driveway and concrete work in the backyard. That's what sparked the investigation in this case.
Today, the Adams County judge said Acey was part of a culture of corruption and greed.
I guess in my vernacular, the culture could often and has often been described to be one of what you might also say would be the good old boy network.
And the new Adams County DA, Dave Young, who prosecuted AC, he's not finished with this case yet. He's going back to court on March 1st to ask the judge to force AC to pay more than $128,000 in restitution to the county.
I know you'll stay on top of it, John, as always. Thank you.